Today I'm teaching you how to bake a classic white cake. When I was younger, my mom taught me how to bake, and it was a really big part of our lives because we were a very close family, so we had a lot of birthdays. And I just love making them for other people. They always make everyone's day, and of course I have quite the sweet tooth, and so it's probably my favorite dessert. In order to make a classic white cake, you need a few key ingredients, such as an oven, mixing bowls, a large spoon, measuring spoons and cups, 1 cup of white sugar, half a cup of butter, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 1½ cups of flour, 1 3/4 teaspoons baking powder, frosting, any color's fine, half a cup of milk, and a strong arm. Along with your other ingredients, you'll also need Pam, so that you can get the cake out with ease, and of course baking pans to bake with. The first step in making a classic white cake is that you have to preheat the oven to 350. Also make sure there's nothing inside the oven already. Done that before. Second step is to mix the sugar and the butter together in one of your mixing bowls. It also helps to have the butter thawed already, because when it's super chunky, it's really hard to mix, especially if you don't have a mixer. I'm going to take your large spoon and make sure that the butter is all. After the butter and sugar is sufficiently mixed, you'll need to break 2 eggs and beat them in. I don't know why, but I always have to kiss my eggshells. I don't know if that's sanitary, but I've never broken an egg shell into my mix. So then you need to whisk the eggs and the butter and the sugar until it looks really appetizing and yummy. And then you add the vanilla. Alright, so you want to make sure that you beat the mixture until you see less and less chunks of butter and sugar, because they like to stick together. Hence the strong arm. Then you have to mix the flour, the baking soda in separate bowls and stir them together. And after you have that, you must mix them together into one bowl. Make sure you get as much of each mixture out of each bowl, because measuring is very important while baking. So then you should have a dough-like consistency by the end of this. And as you can see, it starts to stick together. You have to make sure that you get all of the wet ingredients with all of the dry, so that there's no pockets of flour in your cake once it's done. After you've done that, you need to add the milk. You need to mix that around so that the consistency is still that of a cake. So you want to keep whisking until the entire mixture is smooth and it's not hard for you to get it out of your whisk. After that, depending on what shape cake you would like, you can use 2 8x8 pans, or you can use a bigger pan if you would like a flat cake. Make sure you spray the bottom and the sides so that once the cake is baked, it will stick and it'll be much easier to get out of the pans without having it break apart and crumble. So when you're adding them together, you want to make sure you add a little to one bowl and then a little to another bowl so that one cake isn't ridiculously bigger than another one. Because if you're stacking them on top, you want to make sure that both cakes look uniform. Once both mixtures are even, open up your oven carefully. It's going to be hot in your face. And try and fit them both on the same rack so that they bake together, because normally the lower rack cooks a little bit faster than the top one. And then you want to set your timer for 30 to 40 minutes. I like to do 35 and then check it, and we will check them when they're done. Once the timer goes off, feel free to take them out of the oven if they look like they're not liquidy anymore. You can use either a toothpick or a butter knife, stick it right in the middle, and it should come out clean, nothing stuck to it. Then I normally like to go around the edges of the cake with a spatula, or you can also use a knife. Just make sure you don't scratch up the cake. Just to loosen it up while it's cooling so that it doesn't set so directly onto the pan, and it's a lot easier to get out once they are completely cool. And to speed up the cooling process, I like to take them and put them into the fridge just to speed it along, because decorating is probably my favorite part. This will normally take about, if it's in the fridge, 10 minutes, and then you can take them out of the pan and let them cool a little bit more, because they definitely cool faster once they're out of the hot pan. Alright, so once the cakes have cooled down, feel free to take them out of the fridge, and then you'd want to go around them with a knife, just like I said before. And normally with cakes, you like to put a little frosting in between, so you should put them on 2 separate plates, and then frost one of them like it'll be the bottom, and then frost the other one like it'll be the top. And then you can just put them together once you're done frosting. Alright, so what I like to do is when I make double cakes, I like to put a lot of frosting in between, because otherwise it's a lot of cake and not a lot of flavor. And you can pick any frosting you want. Some people actually like to make their frosting from scratch, which I have tried before and failed. But overall, the more frosting, the better, in my opinion. And you can even get white frosting and then dye it any color you want, so that the middle of your cake is a different color than the rest of your cake. And basically you just have to make sure that the frosting is spread nicely. Once you spread it all, you can put patterns in it with spoons or knives and decorate it any way you like. Once you're all finished, you have a homemade classic white cake. And you can eat it yourself or give it away to someone else, but I think I'm going to eat this by myself. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.